Millions of people watched them blow up overnight. Millions more watched them crash just as fast. But how did two twins go from viral fame to complete chaos in less than 2 years? Meet the Island Boys, twin brothers Alex and Frankie Venegas. In 2021, at the height of the COVID era, they became one of the strangest internet success stories of the decade. With nothing more than a phone, a hot tub, and a bizarre freestyle that didn't even sound like a real song, the twins became the center of a viral storm. Their messy hair, covered in tattoos, appearance, and offbeat delivery made them impossible to forget, and within days, their freestyle was everywhere.
Boy, and I've been trying to make, I'm an island boy. I'm a just island boy. I'm a just island boy. I'ma get key white going. You're gonna keep that gun. I'll be just staring at the sun. I'm just out full gazing. I'm like, pool where I'm staying. They're like, you wanna be famous? I'm trying to be out the greatest. I'm a Florida boy. I get a real damn tropic. I'm like the damn on the topic. I'm an island boy. Put my vest on, yeah.
Whether people loved it, hated it, or just couldn't get the chorus out of their heads, everyone knew who the Island Boys were. The sudden wave of attention launched them into an instant celebrity status. TikTok users couldn't stop remixing the clip, celebrities were sharing their reactions, and podcasts scrambled to book them. For a brief moment, it looked like Alex and Frankie had achieved what thousands of aspiring rappers could only dream of. They had fame, money, and a platform that made them household names almost overnight. But here's the thing about viral fame. It burns fast, and it burns out even faster. The same internet that lifts you up can just as quickly turn on you. And that is exactly what happened to the Island Boys. As their fame grew, so did the criticism. People laughed at their lack of talent, their over-the-top image, and their defensive personalities. Their podcast appearances became viral for all the wrong reasons, turning what should have been opportunities into more fuel for the internet's mockery. Their music was overshadowed by memes. Their shows drew headlines for disastrous performances, and the public began to wonder if the twins were destined to be remembered as nothing more than a punchline. Behind the scenes, things were even messier. The money rolled in fast, but so did the problems that came with it. Feuds broke out publicly, their personal lives spiraled, and the same platform that gave them success became a stage for their downfall. Allegations surfaced. Controversies followed, and before long, the name Island Boys was less associated with music and more with chaos.
Bro, shut your ass up. Break this.
Hey, yo, that ass, I would love to see you try that.
Bro, what are you talking about?
I would love to see you try that. Who the are you sticking up?
However, what makes their story so fascinating isn't just the rise or even the fall, but the speed at which it all happened. Two brothers from Florida went from being in and out of juvenile detention to making thousands of dollars a day, only to lose it all before they even had the chance to figure out how to handle it.
I don't know what we should talk about first, but like, what was the Island Boys thing? What's going on?
They did poker dirty.
Crazy, yeah.
They did you dirty? How?
Yeah, they owe me about like $150,000.
From what? Your percentage of the Cameo money?
Yeah.
Is that the only money they're bringing in?
Mostly, maybe a little bit on TikTok, but I mean, it's pretty much run dry at this point.
Right.
From accusations of violence to disturbing headlines involving the people around them to the harsh reality of financial collapse, the Island Boys became a cautionary tale of what happens when viral fame outpaces everything else. And recently, the chaos around the Island Boys made headlines once again, this time not for their music or viral antics, but for a late-night incident that turned into one of the strangest chapters of their downfall, a chapter that perfectly summed up just how far things had spiraled out of control for the twins. It all started when footage surfaced of Frankie Venegas, better known as Kodiak Cred, being arrested outside a strip mall in Florida.
We'll get it. Just put your frame so they don't hurt your wrist.
A lot of bling here. Tiny little wrist, man.
Yeah, I've been losing weight, bro.
Should be that good or bad.
Witnesses and officers reported that he had been driving his car recklessly in circles through the parking lot, swerving up and down the lanes in a frenzy while shoppers and bystanders looked on in shock.
This is my mom. Of course, you guys know. I don't know.
Listen,
you don't know what?
I know who you are, but hear me out. We've been sitting here. Listen, stop. We've been legitimately sitting here watching you drive like an asshole from 10 Ave down to 11 Ave, all through the
I was just doing.
Don't tell me what I'm not seeing. I
Sir.
watched it all happen.
Sir, they pulled out guns on me. I was literally.
Then why not leave or call the police?
Police said the stunt was not just dangerous, but reckless enough to put dozens of lives in immediate danger. When cops confronted him, Frankie immediately denied that it was him behind the wheel. He insisted that they had the wrong guy, and that he had not been the one driving the car at all, even though multiple witnesses and the officers themselves had seen him do it. When pressed further, he offered an explanation that raised more questions than answers, telling officers that unknown men had pulled a gun on him and that he had only been driving like that to escape with his life.
We're getting stuff.
Dude, have you been watching?
I know, but listen, let me explain to you guys what happened. Bro, these guys pulled out guns out on me. Talking to you. I was chilling, and these guys pulled out guns out on me. I already been threatened when I've been here. I'm sorry, sir.
On the surface, that might sound like a reasonable excuse. After all, if someone points a gun at you, panic and chaos would not be unexpected. But the details of Frankie's story quickly began to unravel. Officers asked him why, if he was in fear of his life, did he not call 911 immediately.
It all happened.
Sir, they pulled out guns on me. I was literally.
Then why not leave or call the police?
I
Why
was
do you keep
literally
doing
about to
that?
call you guys.
What's your name?
Frankie replied that he was going to call, but as body cam footage later confirmed, it was actually a strip mall employee who made the call to police.
Yes, I'm the manager. Did you call? You called. My worker. Can I talk to your worker?
Making his excuse even weaker was the fact that the cops had seen him, and he had been driving back and forth for far too long to be simply trying to escape. Witnesses said it looked more like he was intentionally circling the lot rather than just fleeing danger. Besides this, other eyewitnesses gave even more troubling testimony. Some claimed that before the situation escalated, Frankie had actually been hanging out casually with the same group of men who later pulled guns on him.
They pulled out guns on me and everything. I'm not lying to you.
You were here hanging out with them. We were watching.
Yes, hanging out, and then all of a sudden you just see dude push me, and I get in the car, and they say get up and they say get up and do something, and then huh?
When things heated up, instead of walking away, Frankie allegedly jumped into his car and began driving directly at them, attempting to run them over. One of the men who had drawn a firearm told police that he and his friends did not even know Frankie personally. They just recognized him, asked him to rap for them, and when words were exchanged, tensions exploded.
He went to rapping for him.
Y'all know, you know that kid?
I don't know, that one he...
The passenger know?
Nah, he just wanted to rap for him.
Oh, so you just saw him, you recognized him from all the social media and
Yeah,
stuff?
he wanted to go rap for him.
Alright.
And them boys went to arguing, I don't know why, cause I was sitting in the car still, and them boys went to arguing. And then the island boy got in his car and he was driving all crazy and jump, like trying to run the over the passenger and recording while he doing it. So that's how all that happened.
Wait, so...
According to his version of events, Frankie escalated the situation by using his car as a weapon, and they had only pulled guns for protection.
Between me and you, I'm gonna keep it G.
Alright, we can keep it.
First time he came back, I whipped mine out. That's before fire out now. But yeah, I whipped mine out, but then I ain't pointed at nothing. I just whipped it out for safety in my hand.
Okay.
Cause I done been shot before 3 times.
The truth of who started the incident remains murky, but what was clear was that Frankie's actions put innocent people in danger. Driving up and down the strip mall lot at high speeds with no regard for safety, as if the reckless driving and conflicting stories were not enough, the situation took an even stranger turn when Frankie was placed under arrest. In what became one of the most bizarre details of the entire encounter, Frankie claimed to officers that he was not Frankie at all, but his twin brother Alex.
Let me just start with this. I know, we all know that you're not Alex. We know that you're Frank.
I'm Alex.
You're Frank.
No, I'm seriously Alex. It is.
You're Frank.
No, I'm not.
You are.
I'm Alex.
Don't, hey, my man, don't lie to me.
I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm Alex Menez.
When the police pointed out that they had his ID in hand, clearly identifying him as Frankie, he doubled down, insisting that he had grabbed his brother's wallet by mistake.
What are you talking about? I'm Alex Menez. How am I lying?
We know that, look at me, dude. We know that you're not Alex.
How?
Because we looked it up.
Look what up? I am Alex.
You're not.
How are you gonna tell?
Your ID in your wallet, in your bag, is Frank.
Yes, because I have my brother's wallet.
The excuse fell apart immediately when officers reminded him that he and Alex do not even share the same tattoos, something that makes them impossible to confuse.
Your ID in your wallet, in your bag, is Frank.
Yes, because I have my brother's wallet.
Bro, don't lie to me. We looked at the tattoos, man. You guys don't have the same tattoos.
Bro, I'm telling you,
Even after all that, Frankie continued to deny who he was. Officers calmly informed him that he was under arrest for reckless driving and providing false identification while sitting inside the squad car. He briefly admitted that he had lied because his license was suspended, but almost instantly, he backtracked and went back to insisting that he was actually Alex.
I don't understand. Why did you lie about your name? I don't get it. We came to help you, right? I was so nice to you.
bro, it's my license, bro.
So what about your license?
It's suspended. I want to get my license.
So you gave us a false name because your license is no good?
No, bro, I'm telling you, I'm Alex. Y'all reading the Frank from my tattoos.
Clips of the arrest quickly spread online, with people mocking not only the reckless driving, but the absurd attempt to hide behind his brother's identity. Many saw it as the perfect metaphor for how the Island Boys had handled fame and controversy since the very beginning, avoiding accountability, doubling down on lies, and making choices that only worsen their situation. The headlines did not frame Frankie as a victim of men with guns, but as an out-of-control internet star who'd become a danger to himself and others. For longtime followers of the Island Boys, the arrest was both shocking and predictable. Shocking because of how far it had gone, but predictable because reckless behavior had defined their story from the start. This was not the first time the brothers had made headlines for the wrong reasons, and it was unlikely to be the last. But the details of this incident highlighted the exact chaos that made them infamous. What began as a group of young men hanging out in a parking lot escalated into cars, weapons, police lights, and yet another viral clip. It was also symbolic of the Island Boys' larger downfall. At one point, these were kids who had the internet in the palm of their hands. A viral freestyle had made them household names. A pathway to music, money, and fame seemed wide open. But instead of building on that opportunity, their decisions, one after another, only deepened the mockery and controversy that surrounded them, until stunts like this became the only headlines they had left. The strip mall arrest showed how far Frankie had drifted from the dream of being taken seriously as an artist. Instead of rapping in studios or performing on stage, he was on body cam footage, desperately pretending to be his twin brother to avoid another charge. Instead of proving his critics wrong, he was giving them more ammunition, reinforcing the idea that the Island Boys were more spectacle than substance. And yet, this was not some isolated turn of bad luck. It was the latest in a pattern, a cycle that could be traced all the way back to the very beginning of their lives. Because to understand how Frankie and Alex Venegas ended up here in parking lots and headlines, you have to go back long before the hot tub freestyle, long before TikTok, long before the internet even knew their names. The story of Alex and Frankie Venegas, better known online as Fly Soldier and Kodia Cred, is nothing short of fascinating. Born on July 16, 2001 in West Palm Beach, Florida, the twins did not exactly grow up with the stability most kids have. When they were just 5 years old, tragedy struck the family. Their father died suddenly from a heart attack, leaving the boys to be raised by their single Cuban mother. While their mother worked hard to provide for them, life in West Palm Beach was already a difficult place to grow up. At the time, the city was ranked among the most dangerous in the country, plagued by crime, poverty, and violence. For two young kids without a father figure, that environment had a huge impact. The brothers have openly admitted in interviews that they were out of control from a young age. They've said that while they were grateful to their mother for keeping a roof over their heads, she had little authority over them. In their own words, they always felt like they could do whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted.
No, but yeah, we were out of control. She was good. She did everything she could, but we was out of control. We thought we could do whatever we want, and we got away with it because when you're a little kid, you know, it's like a slap in the wrist when you get in the system, you know?
That attitude, combined with the rough neighborhood around them, led the twins down a dangerous path. By the time they were in middle school, they were already getting into fights, skipping school, and running with the wrong crowd. Their rebellious streak was not just harmless teenage mischief, it was the start of a pattern of behavior that would eventually lead them in and out of juvenile detention. And while their father's death and their environment clearly played a role, Alex and Frankie seemed determined to live by their own rules, even if it meant clashing with authority at every turn. By the time the twins turned 18, things at home had completely unraveled. Their mother, who had raised them on her own, eventually had enough. After years of fights, trouble, and run-ins with the law, she finally kicked them out, leaving the brothers to figure out their next move on their own. By this point, both Alex and Frankie had already been in and out of juvenile detention multiple times. They faced charges ranging from burglary to assault, and they had built a reputation as kids who were always in trouble. But once they were officially on their own, they realized they couldn't rely on the streets forever. With little money, no real plan, and nobody to fall back on, the brothers turned to social media as a possible way out. They began posting videos, experimenting with music, and trying to brand themselves as rappers. For them, it wasn't just about chasing fame, it was about survival. Music and social media became the only escape they could see from the cycle of arrest, poverty, and instability that had defined their lives up to that point. However, to their credit, they did put in effort. Fly Soulja in particular was posting regularly, even making daily videos reacting to comments just to keep his content circulating. While the quality was rough, it was clear the twins were serious about turning their online presence into something bigger.
This dude swear he cool. I don't think I'm cool at all. I just be vibing, I be chilling. But I mean, if you think that I think that I'm cool, then that's on you. But I be chilling. I don't be worried about too much things and that drama stuff. So, yeah.
At that time, platforms like YouTube and TikTok were exploding in popularity, and with their loud personalities, eye-catching tattoos, and rebellious image, the twins believed they had the right formula to stand out. They even admitted to blowing about $30,000 on tattoos alone, just so they could emulate popular SoundCloud rappers.
How much did you spend on all your tattoos? I spent around, like, 30K.
That money would have been spent better elsewhere, for example, if they used it trying to hone their craft instead of focusing on looking the part, which will be made pretty evident as you continue watching. To be fair, their over-the-top look and loud personalities did catch some attention, although not in the way they had hoped. The Island Boys wanted to build an online following while making music so they could blow up and be taken seriously as rappers. But instead of being recognized for talent, they were mostly seen as characters. Young kids covered in face tattoos, sporting wild spiked hair, and speaking in a way that sounded more like parody than real rap. The twins leaned heavily into the stereotypical SoundCloud rapper aesthetic, but without any real credibility or skill. It became difficult for anyone to take them seriously. Their music lacked polish, and their delivery was often mocked for being offbeat or barely coherent. To outsiders, they looked like a manufactured version of what they thought rappers were supposed to be, and that made them easy targets for ridicule. Scrolling back through their early TikTok content, it is clear how defensive they were. Instead of ignoring criticism, many of their videos were direct responses to negative comments. One user wrote, "He's speaking half English."
I'm speaking half English. It seemed like y'all perfectly understand what I'm saying, because if y'all didn't, then y'all wouldn't be replying back to me in the comment section saying Enely this. So y'all obviously know what I'm talking about. Just saying. Stop lying.
While another mocked them by saying, "If you were good, you don't talk about it."
And I'm gonna say this one more time. It says y'all have the time to comment on my stuff because you want people to think that I'm not a gangster. In real life, I'm a gangster. This app, I just play like, dumb. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you gotta do it. But I know what I'm doing. I don't take this app serious. I'm like that.
Others joked that Fly Soulja looked like a white NLE Choppa, highlighting how forced their image appeared.
Man, I ain't from the flat. Y'all talking about I look like NLE Choppa. I look nothing like, bro. I'm way cleaner, bro. I ain't even from the charm like that, bro. Just know I've been tatted before them, bro. So I've been done this. You feel me? I've been raw, I've been clean, I've been all that.
The comments were harsh, but in a strange way, they kept the twins relevant. Every insult was another chance for Alex or Frankie to reply, and each reply meant new content for their page. They remained consistent too. Fly Soulja especially uploaded daily, making videos where he spoke directly to people clowning on him, insisting that he and his brother were authentic and not pretending to be something they're not. This cycle of hate and response created a steady stream of views, but it was not enough to establish a stable career. They had an audience, but it was one that laughed at them rather than respected them. Their TikTok presence gave them visibility, but not the kind of recognition they wanted. For a while, it seemed like they would stay stuck as internet curiosities, gaining enough attention to be noticed, but never enough to truly break through. But that changed with a single clip. a freestyle filmed in a hot tub featuring their bizarre hair, awkward delivery, and a chorus that was impossible to forget. On October 13th, 2021, the twins uploaded a 1-minute a cappella freestyle on Fly Soulja's channel, a clip that would later be known simply as Island Boys. The video showed the brothers sitting shirtless in a hot tub, their spiked hair sticking out in every direction as they sang the now infamous hook. It was raw, unpolished, and offbeat, yet somehow unforgettable.
Cause I'm an island boy, and I've been trying to make. Oh, I'm an island boy. I'ma just island boy. I'ma just island boy. I'ma get keyword going. You're gonna keep that gun. I'll be just staring at the sun. I'm just out full gazing. I'm like, pull where I'm staying. They're like, you wanna be famous? I'm trying to be out the greatest. I'm a Florida boy. I get a real damn tropic. I'm like the damn on the topic. I'm an island boy. Put my vest on, yeah, like a wagwan man. Trying to make it to the top. I'm an island boy. I've been trying to make it. I ain't seen it with a gang slang. You ain't just slang no kind. And through the storm, through the rain. Cause we try home like a line. From the island boy, from the Caribbean. Que yo soy cubano. I'm an island boy. Put my vest on, yeah.
Within days, the clip exploded on TikTok, pulling in over 10 million views almost overnight. The song's bizarre delivery and repetitive chorus made it perfect meme material, and the internet wasted no time running with it. Hundreds of creators stitched, remixed, and parodied the freestyle, each adding their own spin.
I'm an island bird, and I'm trying to make it. I'm an island bird. I'm an island bird. I'm an island bird. I'm gonna keep my word. I'm gonna keep that down. Yeah.
Cause I'm an island boy. I'm just trying to make it. Yeah. And I'm an island boy. I'ma keep it like an island boy. I'ma keep it like an island boy. I'ma keep it like it's wagwan. But you better really keep that gun. You keep wagwan. You're gonna keep. Cause I'm an island boy.
The Island Boys became one of the most heavily memed moments of the pandemic era. The kind of viral sensation that spread so fast it was impossible to escape online. Once the Island Boys freestyle started spreading across TikTok, it didn't take long before it escaped the app entirely and spilled into the wider pop culture conversation. The short clip was reposted and reshared endlessly across Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube until, within just a few days, the twins were practically unavoidable online. Up until that point, the brothers' identity was tied only to their own accounts, but the virality of the freestyle stamped them with a new name, the Island Boys. Everyone seemed to have an opinion. Casual TikTok users, big-name creators, and even people who barely touched the platform were suddenly talking about the video, either laughing at it, parodying it, or admitting that, for better or worse, the chorus was stuck in their heads. What really cemented their viral moment, however, was when celebrities began to react. Artists, athletes, and influencers jumped in, sharing the clip, sometimes ironically, sometimes out of sheer fascination. Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart were among the first major figures to feature them, with Snoop visibly annoyed and unimpressed, calling them two goofballs in a pool, while Kevin couldn't stop laughing. The clip quickly turned what was already a viral sensation into a cultural punchline that reached far beyond TikTok.
Island boy, and I've been trying to make. Oh, I'm an island boy. I'ma just island boy. I'ma just island boy. I'ma get keyword going. You like gun. I'll be just staring at the sun. I'm just out full gazing. I'm like, pull where I'm staying. You ain't
gang, there they got to use that word. I'm speechless. Two goofballs in the pool.
You know why I'm not speechless?
Why?
Because I'm an island.
Other big names like DJ Khaled also came across the freestyle. their reactions only boosting the Island Boys' exposure further. And while most of the attention came in the form of mockery, the results still worked in the twins' favor. Almost overnight, the Island Boys' name was trending on an almost daily basis. Their freestyle was being remixed and memed into countless variations, and their online presence skyrocketed. Their odd image and unpolished delivery made them internet gold, and whether people loved them, hated them, or couldn't look away, they were still watching. This gave the twins a kind of cultural currency that few viral stars ever achieve. They had managed to break out of TikTok and into the mainstream, all off the back of a 1-minute freestyle filmed in a hot tub. For a brief moment, it really looked like the Venegas brothers had finally struck gold and found the success they'd been chasing for years. But beneath the surface, things were not as stable as they appeared. Kodak Black, a rapper from their own hometown of Florida, and someone the twins had openly idolized, offered to sign them to his label. For most up-and-coming rappers, this would have been a dream opportunity, but the twins turned it down. Alex, better known as Fly Soulja, went on record saying, "I'm not currently signed to no label. I'm independent and so far doing pretty good when it comes to the money, because I feel like labels just take my money, and I'm doing pretty good right now. I got racks." And to be fair, at least at the time, that wasn't entirely wrong. The Island Boys were claiming to be making tens of thousands of dollars a day off TikTok after their explosion, at one point even saying that their daily earnings reached as high as $60,000.
More than that. I'm not even playing with you.
Yeah.
60.
We was looking at the thing. It said
The top of it said you got $60,000 to do.
to make.
Then the next day we would do that. The next day another 60,000. We're like, man, what the is this?
Yeah.
We didn't believe it.
Yeah.
We're like, are we getting this money? And then when it touched my bank account, I was like.
However, that decision to stay independent would eventually come back to bite them. It became clear to anyone who actually listened to their songs that the Island Boys did not have the musical ability needed to succeed in rap. They had convinced themselves that their popularity had sprung from raw talent and that their viral moment was proof of something greater. But that was far from the truth. The reality was that people were laughing at them, not respecting them. Their fame was built on mockery, not admiration, and yet the twins carried themselves like rising stars, convinced that they had what it took to become legends in the industry. They acted as if they were destined to be household names, speaking in interviews as though their path was already carved out, and all they needed to do was keep moving forward. But anyone on the outside could see that their moment was a fluke, a random spark created by their bizarre looks and their awkward delivery, rather than any genuine skill. Their image made them unforgettable, but their music made them unlistenable, and while the internet kept laughing, the twins kept believing that laughter was the same as applause. This disconnect between perception and reality was at the heart of their downfall. They were convinced that they were being celebrated, when in truth they were being clowned on. Their audience tuned in not out of respect, but out of curiosity and humor, and the twins mistook attention for approval. Nowhere was this more evident than when they appeared on the Impulsive podcast. What should have been a chance to prove themselves in front of a massive audience turned into one of the most humiliating and revealing moments of their short-lived career. On December 15th, 2021, Logan Paul invited the Island Boys onto his podcast Impulsive, which at the time was one of the biggest shows on YouTube. This was a huge opportunity for the twins, because appearing on a platform with millions of regular viewers could have helped them legitimize themselves beyond TikTok. At first, everything seemed fine. The brothers were seated, joking around, and answering basic questions about their music, their sudden fame, and how they were dealing with all the hate online. They explained their style, their sound, and brushed off the criticism as nothing new, insisting that people had doubted them their whole lives. For a moment, it seemed like they might actually handle the interview smoothly.
I gotta ask, bro. Let's cut the shit.
Yeah.
Honestly. What's your 5-year plan?
To be always top Billboard in music.
Good God.
Maybe acting if they let me with tattoos acting or something like that. But music is important for us.
But things began to shift when Logan asked them a more serious question, one that cut through the surface level fun. He asked what would happen if this all didn't work out. He wanted to know if the crazy hair, the face tattoos, the clowning online, and the controversy would be worth it if their careers failed to take off.
Boys, what if it doesn't work out? And now you just got this hair and these face tats?
It was the type of question that could have given the twins a chance to show maturity or reflect on the risks they had taken. Instead, they doubled down on their narrative, saying that people had always doubted them, that nobody believed they would get this far, and that most people walked away from them as soon as they started sharing their dreams of being rappers.
We
people,
had this before.
People been saying this before I was a bum. And
How old are you? 20?
20 years old. Before
what?
When I was a bum.
High school? What are you talking about?
No. When I was 18 years old, I just started not so long ago. When I was 18 years old, living in the middle of Palm Beach in the ghetto, and people doubted me. It was worse back then. It wasn't even people telling me, what if it doesn't work out? People just walking away from me.
Do you think they're still doubting you?
Now, at face value, their answer sounded confident and even inspiring. The classic underdog story. Two kids who proved everyone wrong and were determined to keep climbing no matter what. The problem, though, was that it ignored the obvious. They had not blown up because of their music. They'd blown up because they were being laughed at. The Island Boys mistook mockery for respect. They saw going viral as proof of real talent, when in truth, their fame was closer to a meme than a movement. The gap between how they saw themselves and how the world saw them was massive, and in this podcast appearance, it became impossible to ignore. George Janko, one of Logan's co-hosts at the time, picked up on the disconnect and decided to offer what was actually sound advice. He told the twins that now that they had money coming in, and now that they had invested so much into jewelry and appearances, they should consider putting that money into something stable. Something that would make sure they never went broke again.
I think if God forbid it doesn't go in your guys' direction, for real, I think you guys take all of your jewelry assets and invest it in something. So you guys will never ever be broke again. So I don't think there's ever gonna be a broke situation. But I'm saying, like, if you guys
jewelry, it can't be worth that much.
George wasn't insulting them. He wasn't talking down to them. He was genuinely trying to point out a smart move for their future, especially considering how fast viral fame fades. His advice was practical and respectful. But the twins didn't take it that way. They instantly snapped back at George, dismissing him and telling him that they didn't need advice from someone who wasn't making as much money as they were.
We have multiple.
Wait, that was.
Yeah.
Hey, that was for you guys.
Yeah,
that wasn't like a hate shot.
I don't need financial advice when I probably make more money than you.
But that was me being nice. It wasn't me being like an asshole. I could be an asshole.
Their response showed exactly how defensive and fragile they were beneath the surface. Instead of listening or even politely disagreeing, they attacked him. George understandably defended himself, reminding them that all he had done was try to give some friendly advice. Rather than de-escalating, the twins kept laughing at him, mocking him, and telling him to stop talking.
Let me tell you something. George, stop talking. We have multiple.
Wait, that was. Hey, that was for you guys.
Yeah.
The tone in the room shifted. What began as a normal interview quickly turned hostile. The Island Boys leaned into this aggressive, confrontational persona, threatening George by telling him not to piss them off, warning him that things would not go his way if he did.
Wait, that was. Hey, that was for you guys.
Yeah,
that wasn't like a hate shot.
I don't need financial advice when I probably make more money than you.
But that was me being nice. It wasn't me being like an asshole. I could be an asshole. I could turn it up and be an asshole.
Why don't you go talk to somebody else about that? It's not going to go in your favor. But look.
No, it could go in my favor.
Like, you really don't want to go there, bro.
I could go there. Because I was giving you guys nice advice and you guys were being assholes.
Hey, George, keep talking. I'm going to walk out.
All of this despite the fact that George had not disrespected them, he had not insulted them, and all he had done was share a perspective that could have helped them. Their behavior turned what could have been a moment of good advice into a full-blown clash, and it exposed their immaturity to a massive audience. George tried to explain himself again, calmly pointing out that he had simply offered advice and that their hostile reaction was unnecessary.
You dumbass.
I said if it doesn't work out.
Look what you've done. You upset the Island Boys.
I said if it didn't work out.
Should we take a pause?
But instead of recognizing how bad they were coming across or realizing they were overreacting, the Island Boys doubled down. They escalated further, saying that if George kept talking, they would walk off the show.
I was giving you guys nice advice and you guys were being assholes.
Hey, George, keep talking. I'm going to walk out.
It was a classic tactic, trying to control the room through threats instead of dialogue, but it backfired spectacularly. They tried to act tough, leaning on this image of being hardened thugs, throwing out empty threats and acting like they were above criticism.
Who's this guy?
All right, hold on, dude.
What are you trying to show up? I'm not showing up. I said God forbid, which means an accident, and God forbid, a situation would happen.
You know me from Island Boys, but you know I'm thugging, bro, right? You know that, right?
When George stood his ground and refused to back down, they folded. The twins actually got up and left the set, walking out of the podcast they had been invited on, proving exactly the opposite of what they were trying to project.
So just keep it like that. Feel me?
I'm gonna step in for a second.
George,
Hold on. No, hold on.
This is a podcast.
No.
Here, I'm moving for you. I was giving you nice advice, bro.
I agree with that.
For all their talk about being real and untouchable, they showed that the moment they faced pushback, they crumbled. Even Logan Paul, who'd been sitting back watching the exchange unfold, admitted afterward that the situation made no sense. He pointed out that George had only given advice and that the twins had completely overreacted. Logan recognized that their behavior was not about genuine anger, but about trying to create a moment, something dramatic that could get them attention. It was transparent, and instead of helping their reputation, it made them look ungrateful, arrogant, and unstable.
Nah, you were.
Boys, what are we talking about? Island Boys. No.
They were
It's
just
a
here.
stick.
They got
The whole
mad,
thing's
they
a fucking stick, Georgie.
Well, that part wasn't.
I seen the kid go from calm to like, he very clearly was like, now I want problems and smoke.
No, but that part wasn't dick.
The reason they're doing so well is because they do shit like that.
Oh, they big.
No, bro, they're on shit. They're on the dog. They're making a moment. Look, they just walked off Impulsive. That's cool. Guess who continues talking about him? Everyone else.
This appearance became one of the defining moments of their short career, because it perfectly captured everything that was wrong with the Island Boys' approach to fame. They mistook views for respect. They mistook mockery for admiration, and when someone finally tried to ground them in reality, they lashed out instead of listening. Walking off the podcast didn't make them look powerful, it made them look fragile, like they couldn't handle even the smallest amount of criticism without spiraling. Clips of the incident spread across the internet almost immediately. Fans and critics alike posted the exchange, pointing out how unprofessional and insecure the twins looked. Instead of proving themselves to a mainstream audience, they embarrassed themselves in front of millions. The Island Boys have gone on Impulsive with a chance to change the narrative, to show that they were more than a viral joke. But instead, they confirmed exactly what people already thought, that they were a meme trying to pretend they were musicians, and that their ego was bigger than their talent. Looking back, the advice George gave them was almost prophetic. If they had listened, if they had taken some of their money and invested it wisely, they might have built a safety net for the future. But because they couldn't handle even basic criticism, they threw away the chance to show maturity. This moment, more than almost anything else, revealed why the Island Boys would struggle to last. They weren't built for longevity. They were built for chaos, and chaos can only hold attention for so long. However, they still carried themselves like they were destined to be great, as if every decision they made, even the disastrous ones, were the right moves all along. Walking off the Impulsive podcast wasn't, in their eyes, a mistake or a missed opportunity. It was something they spun into a point of pride, a moment where they stood their ground. To them, it wasn't immaturity, it was confidence. It was proof that they weren't going to let anyone disrespect them. They even tried to play along with the wave of parodies that followed their viral freestyle, posting videos reacting to people imitating them, acting as though mockery was actually a form of flattery.
I'm a redneck boy and I'm from the country. I got a lot of chickens and they all love me. I'm a redneck boy, yeah, I'm a redneck boy.
But the truth was obvious to anyone watching. The internet wasn't celebrating them, it was trolling them. Fans, creators, and even casual viewers were piling on, and the Island Boys had become the punchline of their own fame. Their official Island Boys music video only made things worse, as the comments section quickly turned into a roast session. Viewers weren't holding back, leaving remarks like, "These two boys just proved the human body works even when the brain is dead," or "When the world didn't need them, they appeared." Others mocked the release itself, writing this song wasn't released, it escaped. And one of the most brutal quips read, "The Island Boys cured my depression. They showed me life could be worse." Across their social media pages, the tone was the same. Endless clowning with almost no genuine support in sight. What the twins framed as hate only highlighted what most people already knew. They were viral for the wrong reasons. For a while, it seemed like their whole image revolved around being ridiculed, but soon things took an even darker turn. Following their Impulsive podcast appearance, serious allegations surfaced about one half of the duo, Frankie Venegas. In early 2022, only a few months after the release of their official Island Boys music video, Frankie Venegas, better known online as Kodiak Red, became the center of a scandal that would damage the twins' already fragile reputation in ways they could never recover from. His girlfriend at the time, Montasia Chanel, came forward with disturbing allegations of domestic abuse, accusations that immediately spread across social media and drew intense backlash. Montasia did not hold back. Her accusations were direct and supported by disturbing evidence. She posted graphic photos of herself online showing a swollen face, bruises across her cheeks, and a black eye that left little room for doubt that something violent had happened. Along with the photos, she wrote a caption that went viral almost instantly. Y'all want to be an island girl so bad? Go ahead and be one. Let me show you what it's like to be an island girl. Beat on every day, treated like nothing. Don't believe the fairy tale they sell you. The images and words were damning. But the internet quickly took notice. For many, this was the moment when the Island Boys stopped being funny. Until then, people clowned on them for their hair, their music, or their outlandish behavior, but this was different. The accusations painted a picture of something much darker. And suddenly, the Island Boys brand was not just goofy, it was toxic. Things escalated even further later that same day when Montacia went live on Instagram. Crying and visibly shaken, she barricaded herself in a room and spoke off camera to another woman while thousands of viewers joined in. On the live stream, she said she was staying live until police arrived, an indication of just how unsafe she felt in her own home. Clips of the live quickly spread across Twitter and TikTok, and it became harder and harder for Frankie or his supporters to brush the accusations off as drama. For the first time, the chaotic mess of the Island Boys' private lives was spilling out in real time, unfiltered, and the whole internet was watching. What made this worse was that Montacia's story did not come out of nowhere. Fans who'd been following the couple for months remembered earlier lives that, in hindsight, looked like warning signs. In one instance, Montacia appeared with a busted lip and told Frankie directly on camera, "Look at what you did." At the time, many dismissed it as internet drama or attention-seeking, but with the new photos and her emotional live, those earlier clips resurfaced and took on a much darker meaning. In one of her final live streams as Frankie's girlfriend, Montacia seemed to deliver the ultimate reality check. She said outright that the Island Boys' lifestyle was a lie. The expensive cars, the jewelry, the money, all of it was smoke and mirrors. According to her, the twins were portraying a life they were not actually living. A fantasy designed for views and clout, but built on nothing real.
I'm done selling a lie to people. It's not true. What you see is not true. The things that you see are not true. They're not reality, bro. Nothing that y'all see is true.
That statement cut deep because it not only exposed Frankie, but also foreshadowed what was coming for the Island Boys as a whole. In hindsight, Montacia's words almost predicted the eventual downfall of the twins. She painted a picture of instability, financial recklessness, and a fake image propped up by viral fame. Within a year, as their popularity dwindled and their income dried up, her warning that none of it was real would ring true. Meanwhile, public reaction to her accusations was swift and unforgiving. Comment sections across TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram were filled with anger and disgust. Fans who once laughed at their antics stopped defending them. Critics who had called them clowns now had fuel for something much more serious, that the Island Boys were not just goofy wannabe rappers, but abusers and frauds. And for Frankie, things only got worse. Just months after Montacia's accusations, another disturbing incident surfaced, and this one hit even closer to home. Alex's girlfriend, who requested anonymity, told police that she'd also been a victim of Frankie's violence. According to her, an altercation broke out in the house, and when Frankie lost his temper, he ordered his private security guard to throw her out. She claimed the guard started carrying her belongings outside, dumping them onto the street while she sat on the bed trying to make a phone call. That was when Frankie stormed in, slapped the phone out of her hands, and started yelling. Fearing that things would escalate further, she locked herself inside the bathroom and barricaded the door, calling the police from inside until officers arrived. The fact that this incident involved his own brother's girlfriend made it impossible to spin. Fans who might have dismissed Montacia's claims as relationship drama now saw a pattern forming, a pattern that painted Frankie as a serial abuser. But it didn't stop there. In May 2023, over a year after the initial accusations, Frankie was again accused of domestic violence, this time by another woman in Pompano Beach. According to reports, deputies who responded to the call said the woman had visible cuts and bruises all over her arms and legs. By this point, the Island Boys' reputation was already in tatters, and each new accusation only drove them further into infamy. What started as a viral moment that brought the twins fame and fortune had now turned into a PR nightmare. Instead of being clowned on for bad freestyles or meme-worthy appearances, they were being condemned as abusers. The shift was permanent. Memes fade, but allegations like these stick. Montacia's words that the Island Boys were selling fans a fantasy, that none of it was real, lingered over everything that came after. As the twins' money dried up, as the internet turned against them, and as their personal lives spiraled out of control, her story stood as an eerie foreshadowing of what was to come. For the Island Boys, this was no longer about whether people thought their music was good or bad, it was about who they really were when the cameras were not rolling, and the answer destroyed whatever was left of their careers. The domestic violence accusations against Frankie were not the only time the Island Boys found themselves connected to serious legal trouble. In fact, one of the most disturbing incidents tied to their names involved their own childhood best friend, Alexander James Thomas. In early 2022, reports surfaced that Alexander James had been arrested inside the Island Boys' home after a SWAT team raided the property. The reason for the raid was shocking. Earlier that very same day, Alexander James had allegedly been involved in a drive-by shooting that left an 8-year-old girl dead. The arrest stunned fans, not only because of the crime itself, but because of the close connection between Alexander and the twins. Police clarified that the Island Boys themselves were not the targets of the raid. They were not accused of participating in the shooting, nor were they considered suspects. But the fact that their childhood friend was arrested for such a horrific crime inside their house was enough to stain their reputation even further. For critics who already saw the Island Boys as reckless, the incident reinforced the image of chaos surrounding them. When the news broke, the twins and their team were quick to deny any knowledge of what Alexander had been up to. Their manager, Dovie Besner, released a statement distancing them from the crime. He said, "We just knew him as a quiet kid. He would come and hang out and do his thing and go back to whatever he had going on, but we had no clue about any of these allegations towards him. We just knew him as a good person, someone who grew up with the Island Boys." However, despite the denial, the damage was done. The optics were disastrous, and the internet reacted the way it always does, with jokes, memes, and outrage spreading across social media. To many people, it did not matter that the Island Boys were not charged. What mattered was that once again, their names were linked to violence, controversy, and scandal. The shooting case of Alexander James became yet another dark cloud over the Island Boys' public image. Combined with Frankie's growing list of domestic violence allegations, the picture forming around the twins was no longer one of goofy viral stars. It was one of chaos, danger, and a lifestyle spiraling out of control. But the trouble with Alexander James was only one piece of a much bigger puzzle. And in many ways, it served as a preview of the chaos that would soon consume the Island Boys completely. By this point, their image was shattered. What had started as goofy viral fame had turned into a long list of controversies, from domestic violence allegations to raids and arrests happening right inside their home. And slowly, the cracks in their so-called lifestyle began to show. As bad as the domestic abuse accusations and the arrest of their childhood friend were, the worst was still to come. Because while their reputation was crumbling in front of millions, their money and fame were slipping through their fingers just as quickly. After all these allegations and the clear personality issues they displayed on podcasts and live streams, people simply didn't want to support them anymore. At first, they were always a joke to everyone, but at least the joke was harmless. People laughed at their hair, their mannerisms, and their goofy songs. But when the abuse stories came out, when the threats and erratic behavior piled up, the laughter stopped. Suddenly it wasn't just funny anymore, it was disturbing. And once the laughter ended, so did their income. The truth was, the Island Boys never made serious money from their music. Their songs weren't charting, their shows weren't selling, and no labels were interested in them. Their actual income came from cameo videos, cheap merchandise, and the novelty of being a meme. As long as people found them funny, there was still a market. But once people saw them as toxic rather than entertaining, the orders slowed, the streams dropped, and the money dried up almost overnight. Desperate to stay relevant, the twins turned to increasingly ridiculous stunts. One of their most notorious moves was staging a fake feud with each other, posting videos where they argued over who was the real reason for their fame. They yelled, cursed, and threatened to split up, all while knowing full well it was just a bait for clicks. Fans saw through it immediately, and instead of reviving their brand, it only made them look more pathetic.
You want to be just like me. You want to be just like me.
Red,
you want to do everything.
Red, I made Island Boys.
Follow the leader.
Red,
follow the leader.
I made Island Boys.
You made Island Boys. I'm the one that told you let's get in the Airbnb. I'm the one that.
But I made Island Boys though. I made Island Boys.
Told you to change it up.
I made Island Boys.
I'm the one that, and I'm the one that made the actual bars.
I made
bars.
Okay, let me.
But the Island Boys didn't stop there. In a bid to cling to viral attention, they began associating with some of YouTube's most controversial figures, people whose reputations were already in the gutter. They started appearing in videos with Jack Doherty, a creator infamous for obnoxious pranks and manufactured drama, and with FouseyTube, whose career had been defined by erratic behavior and staged meltdowns. Together, they staged fake fights, confrontations, and collaborations designed solely to farm views.
FouseyTube.
Is it an act or do you guys?
You gotta go downstairs. That's where it's at here.
We don't f each other, bro.
Hey,
Wait, listen, I'm asking you a real question, man to man.
Go ahead.
Are you a man or not?
Of course.
How many genders are there?
2. Male and female.
Do you guys suck each other's dick, or is
Definitely
that
not. That was a popsicle, bro. And we didn't suck each other's dick. I would never touch his dick.
You didn't see him put a emoji?
Like,
Nah,
never.
you touched his dick.
Never.
We gotta go downstairs.
I swear to
Go
God.
downstairs.
He's the one that came up with that idea.
Go downstairs.
Yeah.
And of course.
What could have been a chance to rebuild their brand instead pushed them deeper into the world of manufactured internet drama. Instead of being seen as original or funny, the Island Boys were now reduced to background characters in the circus of other failing influencers. Their desperate attempts to stay in the spotlight only confirmed what critics had said from the beginning. They had no talent, no longevity, and no real plan beyond clout chasing. And so, while their names still popped up in headlines or clips from time to time, the context had completely shifted. They weren't the viral Island Boys anymore. They were cautionary tales, reminders of how quickly internet fame can collapse when it isn't built on anything real. But the worst offense of the Island Boys' clout chasing was probably what finally put a bullet in the head of their online careers. The moment that buried their dreams of ever being respected rappers in the industry. In July of 2023, the twins gained virality like never before, surpassing even their original Hot Tub Freestyle, but this time it was for all the wrong reasons. By then, their music career was already dead in the water, and they were struggling to generate income or attention. In a last-ditch effort to stay relevant, Frankie launched an OnlyFans account. The move alone raised eyebrows, but the way the brothers promoted it shocked nearly everyone who saw it. In the weeks leading up to the launch, the twins began posting highly suggestive photos together, images that pushed boundaries and left fans uncomfortable. Pictures of them with their tongues just inches away from touching, or posing in ways that carried undeniable sexual undertones, flooded their social media pages. The posts were designed to provoke outrage, and they succeeded. But the final straw came in July 2023, when the Island Boys uploaded a video that sent the internet into a frenzy. The brothers were shown full-on making out with each other on camera. The clip went viral instantly, sparking disgust, backlash, and endless memes. While it did bring them attention, it was the wrong kind of attention, reinforcing the idea that they were willing to cross any line, no matter how disturbing, in order to cling to fame. What made the controversy even worse was that the twins didn't back down from it. Instead of acknowledging that their actions were bizarre and inappropriate, they doubled down and routinely defended what they had done. Alex Venegas even addressed the backlash directly in an interview with TMZ. When asked about the video, he claimed that there was nothing strange about it at all. According to him, he had no sexual feelings for his brother, and the kiss was simply an act without meaning. "We're both straight males," he explained, "and kissing is not a sexual act." He went on to add that this was not the first time he and Frankie had done something like this, insisting that the behavior had happened before in what he described as a non-sexual manner. But instead of clearing things up, this explanation only made the situation worse. Viewers were left baffled at the idea that making out with your sibling could be brushed off as casual or normal. The defense came across as tone-deaf at best and disturbing at worst. Far from saving their image, their statements only fueled more ridicule, and the Island Boys' reputation sank even deeper. The twins didn't just defend themselves once and move on, they continuously doubled down, acting as if there was nothing wrong with what they had done. Instead of showing even a hint of regret or acknowledging how bizarre it looked, they leaned into the controversy, brushing off criticism as if it were meaningless. When asked about the video by a fan, their response was dismissive and almost taunting. "Yeah, so what? Twitter is crazy. We're kissing each other. What's the point?" They said, making it clear that they didn't care about the backlash.
Yeah, so what? The Twitter's crazy. We be kissing each other. What's your point?
But it didn't stop there. In fact, the twins seemed to thrive off the attention the scandal was giving them. At one point, when a fan directly asked them to kiss each other again, they didn't hesitate. They actually went ahead and did it live on camera, as if proving their commitment to shock value over everything else. What they didn't realize, though, was that each time they defended or repeated the behavior, they weren't saving their reputation. They were burying it further.
It's crazy. We be kissing each other. What's your point?
Can you guys kiss right now?
Who cares? No.
I want to see it, please.
In public?
Yes, please kiss right now.
They doubled down on their bizarre antics when they began posting even more disturbing content on Twitter, this time pretending to go down on each other. It was the next step in a string of increasingly desperate stunts, and rather than showing any kind of remorse or second thoughts, the twins acted as if this was the master plan to keep themselves relevant. They weren't trying to walk back their behavior or acknowledge how inappropriate it was. Instead, they leaned into it, convinced that shocking people was the only way to stay in the spotlight. The problem was that this wasn't the kind of controversy that could make them blow up again. It wasn't funny or ironic, it was just unsettling. Fans could see that they weren't being clever, they were being reckless, mistaking disgust for success. While their shocking behavior let them blow up for a few weeks again, this truly marked the end of the Island Boys' career in rap. No self-respecting artist, label, or industry figure would ever want to associate with two brothers who had gone viral for creating incest content together. Before this scandal, even though their reputation was already shaky, there was at least a faint possibility that they could ride their viral fame into a legitimate rap career if they got the right backing. But after this, whatever slim chance they had was completely gone. Their OnlyFans stunt didn't even deliver the payoff they were clearly hoping for. Despite all the noise online, the page never made them any real money, and the hype fizzled out almost as quickly as it started. Yet the twins tried to keep up appearances, pretending they were still living the lavish lifestyle of millionaires. They flaunted rented cars, jewelry, and cash, clinging to the illusion that they were on top of the world. But behind the scenes, the reality was far more bleak. Their former manager, Dovey Besner, eventually came forward and exposed just how bad things had gotten financially for the twins. He revealed that the Island Boys were barely making any income at all, and that most of the millions they boasted about online were lies. According to Dovey, their only real sources of money at this point were cameo requests and a small trickle of TikTok content, and even that wasn't nearly enough to sustain their expensive lifestyle.
Mostly, maybe a little bit on TikTok, but I mean, it's pretty much run dry at this point.
Right.
When I was with them, they was coming in hot.
They were viral as fuck,
It was
yeah.
going like 2-3 hours a night straight cameos, but like that's literally
What
the
a life.
only source of income.
Holy.
And
Worse yet, Dovey claimed that the twins actually owed him a massive amount of unpaid money, around $150,000, just from his percentage of their cameo earnings. And it wasn't just him. He alleged that the Island Boys were in debt to several people who had worked with them during their rise, and lawsuits were piling up against the twins.
They did poker dirty.
Crazy, yeah.
They did you dirty? How?
Yeah, they owe me about like $150,000.
From what? Your percentage of the cameo money?
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
I mean, they've got to have like a 45 IQ, right?
Yeah, there's
Combined.
There's a bunch of lawsuits on them now too.
For real?
Everyone's coming after them. This
Why?
guy from Chicago.
You're suing them too.
What became painfully clear was that the Island Boys had gone from being viral sensations with global attention to being broke and desperate in just a matter of years. Their downfall wasn't just about fading fame, it was about burning every bridge while convincing themselves that shock value could replace talent, respect, and financial stability. Creators and fans alike were relentlessly making fun of the Island Boys. They were invited onto countless podcasts and live streams by other creators, but instead of gaining respect, they almost always ended up as the punchline. The hosts mocked them, the comment sections roasted them, and the twins seemed either oblivious or desperate enough to go along with it just for attention. One of the most bizarre moments came during an appearance with Aiden Ross. After making fun of them for kissing each other, Aiden sarcastically asked them to do it again. Instead of brushing it off, one of the Island Boys took things way too far and outright flashed his genitals live on stream, shocking everyone. On another podcast, when a host brought up their controversial kiss, the twins didn't take the criticism lightly. Rather than trying to explain themselves, they immediately escalated the situation, threatening to break their shit and to fight the host who dared to question them.
Always pretend to be pressed.
What's going on with the that's with you two kissing each other and shit?
Bro, shut your ass up. Break this shit.
Dude, hey, yo, that ass.
However, when the host didn't back down, instead standing up to them and saying he'd love to see them try, the twins quickly backed off. They sat back down, suddenly calm, exposing themselves as all bark and no bite. It was a perfect snapshot of who the Island Boys really were. All talk, no talent, no brains, and certainly no financial literacy.
Break this shit. Hey, yo, that ass, I would love to see you try that.
Bro, what are you talking
I would love to see you try that. Who the are you speaking?
By this point, their whole persona had collapsed. They weren't respected as artists, they weren't feared as tough guys, and they definitely weren't rich. The lavish lifestyle they once bragged about was nothing more than smoke and mirrors. Behind the scenes, lawsuits were piling up, unpaid debts were catching up to them, and their streams of income had dried up almost completely. The Island Boys weren't just a fading meme anymore. They were broke, ridiculed, and stuck in a cycle of embarrassing themselves for clout that only pushed them further into irrelevance. And this leads us back to the Island Boys' current controversy in 2025. While the whole world had already turned against them, it seemed they eventually turned against each other as well. Earlier this year, Fly Soulja and his wife posted multiple TikToks exposing Frankie, better known as Kodiak Red, and his behavior. They claimed that Frankie had fallen deep into drug use, missed multiple car payments, and was now homeless. What made things worse was that Frankie's financial irresponsibility was also affecting Alex, since the two had co-signed the car together. As Fly Soulja explained, it wasn't just about his brother's problems anymore. Frankie's actions were now creating problems for his family and even his children.
He's getting evicted. He hasn't paid a bill. Even his mom would tell me before.
And listen, that's another problem on why you don't use.
When fans pointed out that Alex should be helping his brother during such a difficult time, he responded by saying that he had already tried. The problem wasn't that Frankie didn't have support, it was that his drug addiction could never be solved unless he wanted to help himself.
Someone said that your brother has a problem and you need to help him. I already talked about this earlier. I said he's got to be willing to want to help himself. I already tried to help him, remember?
Mm-hmm.
I marshman acted him.
And he called last night.
And that wasn't cheap.
When he called his mom last night, it was out of genuine concern and like hurt and wanting to help. And then like everyone just, this is what happened today.
Alex also revealed why he had cut ties with his twin altogether. Frankie had accused his wife of using drugs while pregnant after their child was born with a nasal blockage and ended up in the NICU. According to Alex, Frankie even went so far as to mock his newborn child's condition, something that was not only cruel but completely false, as there was no truth to the allegations about drug use.
She did not do one substance while she was pregnant. And our baby's not a NICU because of any substance.
I even told them that
he's not with y'all.
It was something with nicotine that would affect his lungs, that would affect his internal. He's having a blockage here. He's probably gonna have to get a surgery right here.
I said that his baby looks like a mannequin doll, and you know what he says to me back? Where's your baby? Why aren't you holding your baby? Your baby's in the NICU? Like almost like taunting and laughing at me.
Frankie's drug issues weren't just a family rumor anymore. They were highlighted during his multiple run-ins with the law. His first arrest in 2025 came after a speeding incident in a parking lot, where officers reported that he appeared to be heavily under the influence.
Yes. When he put the gun in your face and you're sitting inside your car, what thoughts were going through your head?
Are you laughing at me?
Excuse me, what? No one's laughing at you.
Alex, we're trying to help. No, I'm not.
Are you on some type of narcotic? Did you take some perks or something?
No, maybe ADHD.
You didn't tell me. I'm the one writing the report, so if you don't...
But things escalated further later in the year, when police pulled him over again and discovered a firearm with the serial number filed off, along with a stash of oxycodone pills. At that point, it was clear Frankie wasn't just spiraling, he was self-destructing in full view of the public.
TikTok personality known as Kodiak Red is in trouble with the law again.
The judge gave Frank Venegas bail this afternoon for having a gun without a serial number.
And so, the Island Boys story comes full circle. What began as a goofy viral freestyle in a hot tub, something that could have been used as a launch pad into a real career, ended in tragedy, betrayal, and rock bottom. They had the eyes of the world on them, but instead of building on that momentum, they chased clout, staged drama, courted controversy, and refused to take accountability. The result was a legacy not of music, but of embarrassment, broken families, lawsuits, arrests, and self-destruction. What makes their downfall even sadder is that the Island Boys legitimately had opportunities to make it big in the rap industry. They were co-signed by established artists, even catching the attention of Kodak Black, who at one point offered them guidance and a chance to take their music in a more serious direction. They had the spotlight, the connections, and the resources to carve out a career if they had focused on honing their craft. And even during their antics, there were still countless moments where they could have turned it all around. But instead of building credibility through music, they doubled down on controversy until the only thing they were known for was their OnlyFans scandal. That decision wasn't just another mistake, it was the nail in the coffin for any possibility of being respected as artists. Now, with their public image completely destroyed, their finances gone, and the brothers themselves estranged, it's hard to imagine the Island Boys ever coming back together, let alone finding success in rap. The Island Boys brand is finished, and their dreams of being real, respected rappers are over for good. In the end, the Island Boys are not remembered as rappers, not even as entertainers, but as a cautionary tale, a reminder that viral fame can disappear as quickly as it arrives. And if you don't have the talent, the work ethic, or the character to back it up, the internet will eat you alive. For a moment, they were the talk of the world, but now they're nothing more than the punchline to a joke that no one even laughs at anymore. And with this, we would like to end today's video. If you've stayed till the end, then don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments down below.